Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. So in this video, I want to cover this solids command bar. So I've already got my window open, and the template I used was small, millimeters. So when we go to solid, you'll notice that there's a series of what I would refer to as basic building blocks right here. And then this group is more of specialized objects. These are much more curvilinear objects, which have their place. So let's start off with the most basic one, sphere. It works very similarly to the way curve circle works. So if you go to solid, go to sphere, you select the center point and the radius. So let's just use the grid bar, put that at the center. Now, if you ever want to change whether you're using radius or diameter, you just select that diameter, and then you can plug in a number. So say a diameter of 5 millimeters. Now, once again, it just looks like a small little series of lines. So I'm going to click on perspective, make that blue, go to view, and go to shaded. Now, everything that gets drawn in this window is going to be shaded so you can actually see it as an object. All right, so we've got that. So the next command down below is the cylinder. It operates a lot like sphere does in that it wants to know a center point. So let's just put it right there at the XYZ axis. It wants to know a radius or diameter. So let's put in diameter. Well, let's put in, say, 3 millimeters. Now what it's going to ask you for is how tall you want to extrude it. So let's go about there. So now, this is the object you have. So do you notice that gap of space right there? If you try to print that, the likelihood is this sphere is going to fall off because there's not enough contact. So in any case that you do this, you're always going to want to go to transform, move, and you're going to want to move this down till you get more contact. Now it's okay if it overlaps and goes inside the sphere. That's fine. All right. Now, here's the thing though. If you select the sphere, it treats it just as one object. If you select the cylinder, it treats it as one object. A lot of cases when you're working, you may want to consider this to be a single thing, both parts. That's when you use union. So you go to union, click on the sphere and the cylinder, hit enter when you're done. Now it treats it as one single solid object. All right, so click on this open space and get away from that one. So as you go down here, the rest of them operate the same way. Cone, it wants to know the starting point. It wants to know a diameter or a radius. Let's go diameter, 7 millimeters. Hit enter, and then it wants to know a height. So you can operate in this window. Oop, there you go, clicked it. All right. So if we go solid, we go pyramid, it'll operate the same way. It wants to know the starting point, the center of that flat part of the pyramid. It also wants to know how many sides. So in this case, we're going to do 4 sides. And then it wants to know what the height is. So you can make it as tall as you want. Okay. Now, truncated pyramid is kind of the weird one. It starts off the same. Wants to know the center point of the flat area is going to be. So it's like this. And it asks, how many sides do you want? Well, let's put in 5 sides. Hit enter. Now it wants to know how big that is with 5 sides. So let's kind of go right about there. And once again, it wants to know how tall. So you could operate in either this window, or this window. Okay? Let's go right there. Now it wants to know what the diameter or the space is on the top. So you could either have it flare out, or you could have it flare in. Notice though, if you go too far, it doesn't know what to do with that measurement, so it just goes blank. So that top element still cannot go to below 0. It can go bigger than the first flat part down here, but at a certain point, You can't get it to a single point. It just doesn't understand it. If it wanted to be a point, then you would have used pyramid and set 5 sides and then done it. So there always has to be a flat spot to truncated pyramid. All right. So let's move these out of the way. And let's go to the second half of these commands. So the first one's called the lipsoid. Think of this as almost like a surfboard. So in here, what I'm going to do is select my first center point, which is going to be the actual center of the oval. Then I'm going to set what my outer limit of the first oval is. And then I'm going to set what my diameter is going to be. So the first one is the long axis. The second one is always the short axis of this oval. And then the last measurement is how tall it is. So remember, with the ellipsoid, you have 3 measurements it needs. It needs the center point. It needs to know what the distance is from the center point to the top of the long edge. It needs to know the distance from the center point to the outside edge of the short edge. Then it needs to know how wide to make it. So now we have what looks like a surfboard. So we go to solid. Paraboloid works a little, very similar to that. Focus and diameter. So we set the bottom of the paraboloid. Then we set what the axis of the paraboloid is going to be and how wide it's going to be at the top. So first measurement, distance from the outside edge to, in theory, the outside edge of the wide section, then how wide it goes this way, and then how thick it goes. So all of these shapes is always going to have 3 measurements. And where'd it go? There it is. Okay, so this is a good time to use this command. So if you're getting to the point where a lot of the objects are kind of getting lost and can't get to something, use this command. View, zoom, zoom extends all. What that'll do is that'll recenter all the objects so they fit into all 4 screens. Like that. Hey, now I can see everything. Okay? So the one thing with paraboloid is this bottom end here will always end up being a circle. Okay? But it is a paraboloid. The third one that's kind of fun, that I personally, tube is basically inside diameter ring, outside diameter ring, height, which you could have done in combination of curve plus solid extrude planar curve straight. Pipe is the same as tube, slab, but torus is kind of fun. Torus to me is kind of like, it makes the bagel or the donut shape. So I set up what my first diameter is going to be. So what this is the center of the circle to the center of the donut cross section. Because then the next measurement asks is, how big of a donut do you want? So you can see here, I can control how skinny or how wide the donut is. So let's go, yeah. All right. We've now made a donut, and it looks like it's already glazed. So this is how you use the solids command. Now, what can be fun is if you combine the solids command with some of these commands here, especially like twist. So twist will take any solid object you make, 3-dimensional, not flat, and depending on where the line of axis is on the object, you can twist the object on that axis. So let's do it the most common way, probably. Let's do this. Hit enter when you're done. Now it wants to know the start of the twist axis. So let's go to the outside point here. Notice how my cursor says end. And then let's go all the way to the other side. So it'll also say end. Now, once I hit the select key, it says angle or first reference point. So what it's asking is, all right, I now know my axis for bending. What I need to know is where I'm going to start the bend and where I'm going to finish the bend. So here I am in the top window. Select that. And what if I just go like there? A little bit easier to see here. So now we've made a much more interesting shape out of the surfboard. Okay, so now what I said before was you can determine the exact axis you twist on. It doesn't have to be straight up and down. So let me make another surfboard. Left side. And I'll try to make one that's kind of close to the one that I already did. Nice and flat. There we go. All right, so if I'm going to use this object now, okay, click off of it so it's not highlighted, twist, select my object, hit enter when I'm done. Now I'm going to put this start of the twist up here, and I'm going to end, let's go over here, right? So now I got to figure out what my start point of my bend is and what my end point of my bend is. So if you notice, it didn't twist it this way like the first one I did. It twisted along this axis. So they're two very kind of different shapes that you've created. This looks a little bit more calculated. This one has a lot of kind of organic variation to it. So if you wanted to do a ring that had like a flower element or leaf petals, this might be a good way to generate that. All right. Now, obviously, you can always bend these objects. So if I go transform, bend, and let's bend, oh, let's bend this one right here. Find where it is in all the screens. There you go. So once I've selected it, I hit enter. I start my spine. I end my spine. And then I determine how much of a bend I want. Okay. So another cool feature. Let's take the truncated pyramid right here. Transform. We can also taper it or stretch it. Let's stretch it. Say this wasn't exactly the length that we wanted. So let's go here to there. And then as soon as you set that axis line, the start point, the end point, now everything you do above that will stretch that upward. And because I did it slightly at an angle, that's why it also tapered it, stretched it to an angle. All right. So in the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to incorporate some of these shapes along with the transform command and put them on a ring. So have a good rest of the morning, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.